Hey, New Cov. I'm Mike Chastain, the care pastor here at New Covenant Community Church, and really excited about being able to share the devotional with you. Over the past several weeks, I've been reading in 1 Timothy. I appreciate the letter that Timothy writes, and one of the verses that stands out for me is 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 8. Timothy talks about training, physical training. And he goes on to say that physical training is good for the physical bodies that we've been blessed with. God has blessed us with his body, and basically saying, take care of it, do some physical training. But then Timothy goes on to say this, that in essence, spiritual training has greater value than the physical part. Not that we neglect the physical part, but to focus in on the spiritual part that we've been blessed with. It has value for today, value for tomorrow, and really value for our future, that when the Lord decides to call us home, that we get to spend eternity with him. Over the past couple of years, I've been doing some cross training and have picked up the sport of being a triathlon or triathlete, doing triathlons. And have found out that it takes quite a bit of physical training to do that. So I've had to learn how to swim, which has been really, really hard for me, but it's paying off. And so not only do I swim, but I also run. I also do spin classes during the week. And so I'm basically training 6 to 7 days a week to prepare myself for a triathlon, which takes obviously a lot of strength. And here in our game time facility, there is some strength training equipment that we have. Some of the different athletes that we have at New Covenant come and train under some trainers. So they're using some of this equipment to train their physical bodies. And so some of the things that I'm doing with swimming is that we swim up at Millerton Lake on Sunday afternoons, and so when the weather starts to get a little cool or we start our training early, I use a full wetsuit. It's interesting that even in triathlons, for you to excel that day, you really need to know all the rules. You need to know the course that you're going to be running, cycling, and obviously where you're going to be swimming. Some of the rules are you have to have certain gauges of wetsuits. So if your wetsuit's too thick because it adds buoyancy, then you can't use that wetsuit. And so you have to stay within the rules of what the triathlon organization has said. I also have a sleeveless suit. I like this one because then it really shows I'm buffed, but just teasing you. But during the summertime, warmer weather, I use this, and it helps with my buoyancy, and it keeps me afloat. Obviously, because we're out in Millerton Lake, I also wear a bright yellow cap. Hopefully boaters do see us. We do stay away from boaters, but also the other people that I'm swimming with can see me as I swim with them. Probably the best investment, besides the wetsuits that I have made. This is called a pool buoy or pool buoy, and I can put my keys in here and ID, and keeps everything dry. I roll it up and snap it, and then I snap this around my waist. It really is for safety, and so if I get tired, sometimes on Sunday afternoons we'll swim up to a mile plus out in the lake. Then I can float on this. I just hang on to it, float a little bit, and then off I go again. Here's the great thing about this. Knowing that I have this around my waist gives me security. Knows that I can hang on to this if I cramp up, and also boaters see me, and then also the other triathletes that I'm swimming with, they can see me as well. And so that's just some of the stuff that I use. Obviously, I use this to keep my hips up and focus in on my stroke. And so if I'm going to do well on the day of an event, I have to know all the rules. I've had to put in the physical training. I've had to know the course. So if I'm, at the end of the day, going to feel good about the event I did, I have to prepare before even doing the event. Which really leads me to this, that spiritually speaking, as Timothy said, the spiritual has greater value. And so what I do to prepare myself spiritually is very simple. And that is, I have a daily devotion. Currently, I'm reading through the book of Isaiah. And sometimes I read the entire chapter, sometimes just a few verses. After I get done reading through that passage, then I usually read Pastor Rick Warren's daily devotional. Very practical, very helpful, and always very encouraging. I have a consistent prayer life that I spend time in prayer. I make sure that happens on a daily basis. After my prayer time, I think that one of the most important things is to be a part of fellowship, to attend church on a weekly basis. Here at New Covenant, we say you can't do life alone. And so to be a part of Sunday morning, hearing the word, worshiping through music, all those things are very, very important. I'm also part of a small group on Friday mornings. I attend the Friday morning Bible study at 6 a.m. So I'm doing life with guys around the table. On Wednesday nights, I'm also part of a small group. Now again, I understand our schedules can get really, really busy, but I think making the spiritual part of your training is really the most important part, to being disciplined in that, so that you're growing in your relationship with the Lord. Here's one of the things I learned about my first triathlon. I was a part of a team triathlon. As I was swimming, I was constantly getting hit, and people, as they were stroking, were hitting me on the side of the head. And after a while, you would get a little frustrated. But you know what? That's what the enemy does to us. Man, he hits us from every direction. And if I'm not prepared spiritually to take those hits, then you know what? I'm probably going to have some major setbacks in my life. So those are the things that I do. I do daily devotion. I read the scripture, consistent prayer life, attend church, and connect through a life group doing life together. Here's my goal. At the end of the day, I want to hear Jesus say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Have a great day.